Finally, I completed the 7 hours exam after all the troubles. In the past videos, I re-experienced two parts of Chinese Art College entrance exam, portrait sketch and quick sketch. In this video, I'll finally walk you through the final part of my nightmare, acrylic painting, or you can use gouache. The point is to examine your sensitivity to color. I found the real exam online and I'll use this as the reference. Give myself 3 hours to complete. At the end, it will be a final review so as the marking. Let's get into it. Today's topic is acrylic painting. Well, you can use other paints as long as, it's all about examining you how do you master color theory. First of all, I'm gonna introduce you the materials I'm gonna use and the tools that I need. So I got some acrylic paints. And normally we use paints like those you saw on TikTok maybe, but now I'm living in Australia, so I am not paying a premium for the same product that I used to be able to get for $20. So I am using out of tube, which is probably not ideal for this kind of exam. Just because of the amount, that's not gonna be enough. I got 3. That's probably enough. Besides the paint, I got a tier of paper palette. Most importantly, the brushes. Jar filled with water, and don't ask me why it is yellow. And finally, you just need some tissues, so toilet paper works. As you can see, the time for the exam is also 3 hours. I found this reference photo online. This is a standard state examination for color, and I'll put this on the top of the screen. So now let's hop into it. Let's start the timer now. So to start, what we liked was we would apply a thin layer of wash on the paper with burnt sienna, and you can just use the biggest brush to make it quick. Dip the brush in the water, slightly dry it. Also, you're supposed to use masking tape. Okay, I ran out of masking tape. So I haven't been drawing acrylic for a really long time. I've been using oil, and oil and acrylic is two very different material, and acrylic just dries almost instantly. So now it's the first step, which is finding a shape. So as you can see, the violin should be the centerpiece. Jesus, why it's so wrinkly? Of this painting, and I'm just gonna find. You need to find the right position of each items because it's a lot of items here in this image. So you do need to find the relation between those items in this image. Like the spoon is long enough to reach the strawberry on the bottom right, and the wine bottle has a line. Is it a line near it? So everything's organized in the center of the paper. A pop question: why do you think they put a wine bottle beside the violin? I mean, just shout out your reasons in the comments. I personally think it's because the wine bottle is dark, cold tone, so it contrasts with the violin that's obviously really warm. Like those two pieces together would ground the whole image a lot better and make it easy for the students to paint. Well, you can see the first time you start a shape, it can be wrong. Like, doesn't matter at all. And you don't need to follow the organization or follow the exact position on the image. You're supposed to put your own ideas as well, because sometimes the items would be positioned way too far away from the central, and you probably want to reorganize it just a little bit to make it more centralized. Now we use the same color from all those shadow and shaded part of the item, and we give ourselves a good indicator of how's the color gonna go when we come to the color. So now it's the time that you can step away and to see, where do I need to make changes and where do I see it wrong when I'm sitting down and drawing this. And as I was doing the first part of the exam where I was drawing the portrait, I didn't do right about the proportion, and a lot of people pointed out, which I totally agree and I appreciate. And I remember one comment said I should step away to see. So now I'm gonna step away to see how it really is. Okay, that's how we went about the first step. And coming to the second step is actually applying the background. So we're gonna squeeze out more colors for the background, and we can start from there. As you can see, it's a bit of cold tone of gray, and the one laying on the table is much lighter, brighter color, and they together creates a good amount of contrast. So I need to manage to get these two colors out. You don't need to blend everything evenly. So you're supposed to have when I draw a stroke, you see there's two different colors in your brush. Now I finished the upper background, and you can see the brushes comes with strokes of different colors, and that will be necessary and easier for us to build on than a fully blended color. And because I'm using too much time on explanation, I'm running out of time, so I'm just not gonna talk and finish the second stage. To apply the first layer of color, and at this stage you only care about apply one color to each items and two for the main items, and the main items here is probably just the violin. So, okay, that is the stage 2 finished, and the stage 3 is add the shadow of every single item, as well as add the shaded part of every single item. And while you're doing this for all of the rest items, you need to add another layer for the main item, which is the violin. There is a technique that I want to let you know, because what they told us is how you use the brush. You put a flat stroke with the side profile of it a little bit stroke and dot. So it adds complexity without you putting a lot of effort in, and it helps you, well, when everything puts together, it just looks more complete in a way, more complex in a way. Forgot how fast acrylic dries. Anyways, the next stage is just a deeper level of stage 3, and we're gonna add more layers to the items, and gradually it will all become together and it will become more realistic. Your stroke meant to follow the shape of the item. So if here it's a banana, I would use less vertical stroke, more horizontal ones, because banana's shape is longer and it's laying on the table. And if it's round, I would use a combination of strokes. But in general, you need to make it consistent, so the whole paper looks clean and neat. And drawing is very logical, I believe you do agree. Also, random question for my viewers. Are you artists or just students, or like are you just not doing art at all but like curious about the content? It's coming to the final hour, and there's still a lot to do. And I really don't want to fail this final exam. Now it's the final step because I'm running out of time, and it's basically do highlights. And generally you don't use pure white, you kind of mix it with a bit of yellow, so it's actually brighter this way. And on the wine bottle, it's usually the most crucial part is the highlight. So, yep, I don't think I've done a great job. But anyways, let's move on. And you use a bit of dark color to emphasize the area that the object touches the surface. Just don't be too dark. Use the combination of line and dots. Okay, and I probably have final 5 minutes left, and I'm just gonna fix up the background and try to make it look more dimensional, because I think I really hate that background right now. Now I have 6 seconds left. And that's it. That's the complete of 3 hours working on this acrylic painting. And this is the final result. Now let's get into the marking process. Finally, I completed Chinese art Gaokao. I would say acrylic painting is probably one of the strongest, but still I got very rusty at meeting those rubrics that are designed for passing exams. I received comments saying this sort of exam exploits the fun and enjoyment of art. What do you think the torture is for? Firstly, let's check out how I went with this acrylic painting. Likewise, I'll mark myself using those criteria I found online and according to my memory. First of all, color theory. This includes color relations and tonal shading. There's some essential elements will be assessed on: the saturation of color, the hue, the tonal. Firstly, we want darkened areas like shadow and shade without turning it gray or black. Therefore, mastering complementary color is important. Too much, it's gray. Too less, it's too saturated. Secondly, we want environmental color and hints of unmixed color left from a stroke. That indicates your freedom as expression while being accurate. Thirdly, our eyes should only be drawn to the whole area of the painting at first glance. Thus, the use of complementary color becomes another core tool to master at making these items further away from the central point grayer. So much has been said, I'll give myself an 80. Coming to structure and composition, this is individualized from assessing on the using of color. This is completely sketching skills. Simply, it is about the shape accuracy and tonal accuracy. If the violin looks like a violin, is the wine bottle too fat? Therefore, I think I'll give myself an 82 for this. Now it is the most important part, is my painting obeying the techniques they want us to use for the exam. If you can remember, I explained a special stroke type, starting with a flat stroke, then a line, then a dot. This is a perfect example of one of the techniques. Like this, and that. However, you see the comparison. I haven't quite remembered all the techniques, so I would say it's a 76. Fourthly, overall quality. I think it's medium. There's things I went into details, but there are large areas I can refine much better with smaller strokes and more layers. It's a 72 for me. Lastly, realism. If you see those examples, they use the color to reflect the texture of each item. I have not shown the level of realism yet, especially on books, bananas, and strawberries. There's so much I could do better, so I think a 70 is probably reasonable. I believe you remembered I said I would do better at this, but let's see my final score. 76. Oh. As this marks the end of the series, now it's time to see how I went in the whole exam and where I should end up with. So I got 79 in part 1, 69 in part 2, and 76 in part 3. That's regarded as a terrible result in any exam in China, and I'm scared. Let me know what you think of this exam I experienced personally 6 years ago. And do I need a retraining? This has been a traumatic memory for me personally. Intensive training, robotic criteria meeting those deadlines. I feel sad to end this series now because I have received a lot of support and opinions from you throughout. However, I'll soon start a new series of content regarding to my Chinese art background and what I do now. I do want this channel to be real about me as an artist than limiting myself for a niche. So, hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you next week. Don't forget to hit a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, so you can check out more of my upcoming videos related to my Chinese art background. If you want to keep watching, here's the video that the algorithm thinks you might like. And I'm determined to push out more and better quality videos every week. Bye!